Stop what you are doing right now. I need you to read this sentence carefully. Randy Orton is the undisputed WWE Champion. Say those words out loud. Let every single word land fully in your brain before we go anywhere else. Because that sentence, which seemed completely impossible just a few weeks ago, is now the most important fact in all of professional wrestling. Randy Orton, the Viper, the most cold-blooded predator this business has ever seen, is standing with the undisputed championship draped over his shoulder. And Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the man who finished his story, the champion whose journey made millions of people feel something real and genuine and deeply personal, is standing with nothing. SmackDown delivered something that nobody was fully prepared for. A championship catastrophe that changed everything in a single night. And the way it happened, the specific, cold, calculated, perfectly planned way that Randy Orton took everything from Cody Rhodes, is what makes this moment one of the most significant championship changes the modern WWE era has ever produced. Stay until the very last word of this video, because the final part of this breakdown reveals exactly what Randy Orton's championship win means for the road ahead, and why the most important question in professional wrestling right now is whether Cody Rhodes can finish his story a second time. Do not go anywhere. Every single word of this matters. Before we talk about the match itself, we need to talk about what was actually lost on SmackDown. Because Randy Orton did not just win a championship. He interrupted something much bigger and much more personal than a title reign. Cody Rhodes finishing his story is one of the most emotionally meaningful championship journeys in the history of professional wrestling. Not just because winning the Undisputed Championship is the highest competitive achievement in WWE, but because of everything that journey represented to the people who followed every single step of it. Think about what the Cody Rhodes story actually is at its deepest level. It is a story about a son carrying his father's dream, about a family legacy that was left unfinished and a person who refused to accept that it would stay that way, about the completely human determination to reach a destination that everyone around you keeps telling you is too far away to reach. Dusty Rhodes dreamed of standing at the top of WWE. Cody Rhodes spent years fighting through every possible obstacle to make that dream real. When Cody finally won that championship, the reaction from the WWE Universe was not just excitement about a title change. It was the specific, overwhelming emotion of people who had personally invested in a story and watched it reach the ending it deserved. People who saw something of themselves in the journey. People who connected with the American Nightmare at the level where professional wrestling stops being entertainment and becomes something genuinely meaningful. That is what Randy Orton interrupted on SmackDown. That is what the Viper took when he coiled, struck, and pinned Cody Rhodes in the center of that ring. He did not just take a championship. He rewrote a story that the entire wrestling world had claimed as its own. Now let us talk about how Randy Orton got here, because this championship win did not happen suddenly or accidentally. It was the final chapter of a master plan that was written weeks before that bell ever rang on SmackDown. Phase 1 was the contract signing attack. We have covered this on Suplex Rumble Nation already, but it deserves to be revisited in the context of everything that followed. Randy Orton chose the most psychologically devastating moment available to make his first move. The handshake. The good faith professional gesture that Cody Rhodes extended, because that is who Cody Rhodes fundamentally is. A person who meets opponents with decency and respect regardless of how competitive the situation is. Randy Orton looked at that extended hand and weaponized it. He waited for the exact moment when Cody's guard was naturally and completely down, and then he struck with the cold, calculated precision of someone who had decided long before that moment exactly what he was going to do. That attack did not just hurt Cody physically. It established the fundamental terms of everything that followed. This was not going to be a competitive rivalry between two equals operating within the normal understood rules of professional wrestling conduct. This was going to be a hunt. Phase 2 was the weeks between the contract signing and SmackDown. Randy Orton does not simply attack once and wait for the match. Every serious championship campaign the Apex Predator has ever run involves multiple dimensions working simultaneously. Physical pressure, psychological warfare, the slow, systematic dismantling of an opponent's confidence and preparation so that by the time the championship match actually arrives, the result feels almost inevitable. Everything that happened in those weeks between the contract signing and SmackDown was Randy Orton building that case. Each development adding more pressure. Each calculated move making it clearer that Cody Rhodes was being hunted by someone operating at a level his previous championship defenses had simply never required him to deal with. Phase 3 was the SmackDown Championship match itself. The atmosphere inside that arena when the match began was unlike anything SmackDown had produced in a long time. Every single person in that building understood the stakes completely. This was not just a championship match. This was Cody Rhodes defending everything his story represented against the most dangerous predator professional wrestling has ever produced. The crowd was not just interested in the outcome. They were personally invested in it. They needed Cody to win in the way that people need the stories they love to end the right way. Cody brought everything he had from the opening bell. The championship hunger. The family legacy. The complete committed energy of someone whose title means more to him than any competitive achievement could ever mean on its own. Every tool available to the American Nightmare was deployed with complete commitment from the first second to the last. Randy Orton countered with something that Cody's emotion and commitment and heart simply could not overcome. Patience. Complete, cold, absolutely unshakable patience. The Viper was not in a hurry. He did not need to be. He had studied Cody Rhodes completely during those weeks of escalation. He knew his patterns. He knew his tendencies. He knew the specific moments in a championship match where Cody's emotional investment makes him vulnerable in ways that a cold, calculating predator can exploit. He had arrived at SmackDown with a strategy that covered every possible direction the match could take. Cody Rhodes fought with everything he had. And everything he had was not enough. The 3 count happened in the center of that ring. Randy Orton's hand was raised. The Undisputed Championship was placed on his shoulder. And the SmackDown arena went through the specific devastating silence of people watching something they desperately needed to go one way going the other way instead. Here is the question that every single person in professional wrestling is now asking. Can Cody Rhodes finish his story a second time? The first time Cody finished his story, it was against the odds, against the doubters, against every obstacle the WWE Universe had watched him overcome across years of fighting. He did it once, and it was extraordinary. But doing it once against regular opposition is one thing. Doing it again against Randy Orton, the most calculated championship predator in this business, the man who just demonstrated that he knows Cody better than Cody knows himself, is a completely different and completely more difficult challenge. The American Nightmare will have to find something he has never needed before. A version of himself that can match the Viper's cold patience with something equally powerful. Something that heart and legacy and crowd support alone cannot provide. What that something is and whether Cody Rhodes can find it is now the most compelling story in all of professional wrestling. Drop your reaction in the comments right now. What was your immediate feeling when Randy Orton got that 3 count? Were you shocked or did you see it coming? And do you believe Cody Rhodes can win that championship back from the most dangerous predator SmackDown has ever seen? Subscribe and hit the notification bell immediately because this story is only just beginning and every single development on the road ahead is going to matter more than the last.